Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all doing great. If you can just let me know that the sound is good, and then we can get started. We have just over 80 people watching, and hopefully, we will get many more people into this live stream. So, good evening to all of you. Remember, this is open to the public, so please share this link with as many people as possible. We want as many people as possible to see this live stream. Please like this live stream because unlike with the members live streams, the like button helps to drive it to as many people as possible. And what we will be discussing tonight is very important. And I want people to listen to all the various points that I make with regards to the 20th of March. It's next week, Monday, where a national shutdown has been called by the EFF. So, welcome to all of you. Please share this link. I see mostly members here. I see some non-members in between, but hopefully we will be getting more people from the public to join this live stream. And I have a couple of things lined up that I want to make clear with regards to the 20th of March. This is a big moment for the economic freedom fighters and for Julius Malema, because it's the first time that he has really stuck out his neck. And, you have those moments that make you and you have moments that break you. And this could be one of those for Julius Malema and the EFF. It's either going to be a huge success for him or it's going to be a huge failure. And it doesn't matter how you play it as the leader of the EFF, as Julius Malema. At the end of the day, the EFF members and the public will decide whether this was a success for them or not. Welcome to the over 200 people watching now. And please share this link with as many people as possible. We're going to dive into the details of what is happening. And already, one of the pointers that I've looked at is becoming very interesting, where Julius Malema has changed the flavor of where this started to where he's at now. And that already shows weakness. It shows that he's not getting the support that he wants. So he's gone from a shutdown for Cyril Ramaphosa to step down, and a shutdown against load shedding, to a shutdown for many other things. And we'll look at that just now, thanks to the over 300 people watching now. Please keep on sharing this with your friends and family. So we're going to look at the detail. I will give you the article links also so that you can look at that yourself. And all the key factors that are important, I will discuss tonight. So in my members live stream last week, Thursday, I was asked a pertinent question. What about the shutdown on the 20th of March? And I haven't looked at the detail of it, but the first thing I said was that the EFF say they have 10,000 members in Cape Town. At the moment, they claim to have 1 million members countrywide. This is a lot of people. If you can mobilize all of those million people, you can do to this country what you want. It's enough people. You can do it with 100,000 people. With 100,000 people, you can literally make this government ungovernable if you want. You can force them to resign, and they will do that. It's whether the EFF can actually get those people off the ground, and we will see on Monday if their members actually support them in that way. In the past, the EFF would call on the members to arrive at a school or some protest in Cape Town, and 200 to 300 people would rock up. Now, if you have 10,000 members and that is the response, you are not managing to rally enough people. Now, that was quite a long time ago, and that might have changed. And Monday will tell us where the EFF is actually at. And I want to go into the legality of what they are calling for to just set the record straight with regards to that. We have over 400 people watching now. Welcome. Please share this link with your friends and family so that more people can watch this video. Welcome to the over 400 people watching, the people from the public. And it's important that we get the facts straight. And I'm going to speak the words of Julius Malema himself. I'm going to tell you what he said. And it's interesting that they actually guided the people in the Western Cape first. They spoke to the EFF provincial leadership in the Western Cape. And I find that interesting. So people in the Western Cape, please take note of what is being said. And there's 3 articles that I have open, as well as a link to all the SAFTU affiliated unions, because the big thing for me was, can the EFF get union backing? And in this case, they have received the backing of SAFTU and the affiliated unions, and we'll look at that later. But it's not the largest unions in the country. The other unions that strikes in the past. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. So the first thing I want to look at, and welcome, we almost have 450 people watching now, is where it started. What did Julius Malema say first, and how has he changed since? And this is important, because when I tell people that it's one thing to have a lot of members, it's another thing to have active members. In other words, people that are willing to do something on the ground. And then there's a difference between legal protest and illegal activity. And we'll look at the difference between the two and what their rights are. So the first article is from IOL. I'll give you the link now in the comments so that you can follow it with me if you want to. But I'm just going to touch on the basics there. Welcome to the over 500 people watching now. EFF will bring South Africa to a standstill on March 20th. Now, this is Julius Malema sticking out his head, and he's brave to do that. And at some stage in any political leader's life, you have to make that big leap of faith. So they announced very recently that they've got over 1 million active members within the EFF, which I've said earlier is enough to bring this country to a standstill if you want. With 1 million members, if he can activate them, he can do to the country whatever he wants. And this is the whole point of any political activism. You don't need 1 million people. With 100,000 people, you can get this government to resign. I can guarantee you that. It's quite easy. If you can get those people together in one place, this government will resign. So in this article, it says, headline, EFF will bring SA to a standstill on March 20th. So that's a promise. Okay, that is based on what they said. EFF leader Julius Malema said at the weekend his organization would bring South Africa to a standstill with a planned national shutdown on March the 20th, which is next week, Monday, despite opposition to the action from some quarters. Addressing the party's Western Cape plenum in Cape Town on Saturday, Malema said his party did not need permission to embark on its planned action. Now, is he correct in this or not? Now, in this case, I need to look at the Constitution of South Africa, because all laws and bylaws are subject to the Constitution. If the laws or bylaws are not constitutional, they are irrelevant, because the Constitution is the highest law in the country. The Constitution protects the right to protest. Under any circumstances, you are allowed to protest. The Constitution also protects other rights. So, at the same time, when you have the right to protest, you do not have the right to stop someone else from going to work, for instance. You do not have the right to block a road, etc. So this is where it becomes very interesting. And I'm going to look at his words carefully, and then you will see where it goes from being legal to illegal. So you can protest without sending any notifications to any municipality, council, or whatever. Those bylaws mean nothing under the Constitution. If you take it to the Concord will just absolutely annihilate that local government for their bylaws in saying you must give them notice. You don't need to give anyone notice, ever. Our Constitution gives you the right to protest, okay? The problem here is under our Constitution, it gives the Minister of Police and the police the right to interpret whether your protest is legal or not, whether it's disrupting other people or not. And this is where the problem comes in. So your right to protest is enshrined in the current Constitution, and the current Constitution has many flaws. I'm not going to go into that now. Okay, he says, fighters, the militancy and protest character of the EFF, the fearless character, the ground forces of the EFF, he calls it, your determination to liberate the people of South Africa is going to be seen on March the 20th. He's telling them how it's going to be. Almost sounds like Klaus Schwab. You know, you will own nothing and you will be happy. When you bring South Africa to a standstill, he told the members. So he's telling them what they will do. it's kind of dictatorial. He's not asking them, he's telling them what they will be. Malema told the province's delegates that they should identify which road, shopping complex and city they would occupy on that day. Now, he doesn't say block the road. He doesn't say stop the people from going to the shopping center at this stage. Next, on the 20th of March, and this is him speaking, there is no work or school. No trucks will be moving, and this is where it becomes problematic. He said, adding that the Taxi Association and bus operators in the Western Cape should know now. As if he is some form of God that can just tell these people how it will be. And this is severely problematic. Let me continue. South Africa must come to a standstill because it's apparently his will. We must challenge white monopoly capital, and we must show them we do not need a permit from the Ruperts and Oppenheimers or from the ANC and the ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula, who says people must go to school and children to work, which is kind of weird, Malema said. He insisted that there would be no schooling or work on March the 20th. Now, people have said it's a public holiday. I haven't actually confirmed that, in which case kids would be at home. That's kind of weird. So if any of you can confirm whether the 20th is a public holiday, that makes all of that actually completely superfluous. We have over 600 people watching. Thank you so much. Please share this with your friends and family. Share the link so that as many people as possible can watch this video. So he insisted that there would be no schooling or work on March the 20th. It is going to come to a standstill. That is what the EFF is going to show, mass power. So now he's saying the EFF is going to show this, as if the country is the EFF. It's a fascinating strategy and mind game that he's playing. The Western Cape cannot be a failure. So I said to the people in the Western Cape earlier, I live in the Western Cape. I live in Durbanville, in Cape Town. So I am on the edge of the Cape Town Metro. The people within the Western Cape, take note that he is saying it is going to come to a standstill and that the Western Cape cannot be a failure. You are not going to fail, he says. Remember, we are not to start at 8 o'clock in the morning. March 20th starts at midnight. By the time people wake up, everything is happening. Now, I want to know what he means by happening. Malema said the EFF was a protest movement, and that was what they did in Parliament. This is fascinating. I thought they were economic freedom fighters, and now he says that they're a protest movement. On Thursday, the EFF objected to Parliament being addressed by President Cyril Ramaphosa when he took the institution to the Constitutional Court over the Pala Pala scandal. Malema said he had nothing personal against Ramaphosa, whom he said he could shake hands with. And then they carry on about Malema told the EFF members that they did not need permission for their March the 20th shutdown. Okay? And he said the Constitution protected his right to protest, and he required nobody's permission to get into protest action. He's absolutely correct on that. He's not wrong about that, okay? He says, just before I got to the stage to protect and hold a placard, this is with President Cyril Ramaphosa, saying that he wasn't going to do anything to him. He was going to protest in front of him while he's giving a speech. Once again, inferring that the president must give his speech while he's standing there with a placard, and that is okay. So a lot of intricacies in what he's saying here, and he's been quoted. Okay, here's the interesting thing. What he's doing next is very different. In the Citizen, and I'll give you the link now, it says now, and that is today. Okay, the previous article was a while back. This is today, and here you can go and look at the link there. He sings a different tune, and it shows you that I think he is struggling. But we will get to his cards just now, the cards that he can play, and it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out, because he might get a lot of support, okay? And we will look at that just now. And in the Citizen, it says, streets are calling. EFF urges citizens to occupy streets. during national shutdown. Now they are urging citizens, not just the EFF members. Earlier, when he announced this, he was speaking literally to the EFF provincial leaders, and that was the previous Saturday. Now he's asking for citizens to also join in. Malema cited unemployment. This sounds very different to Cyril must step down and load shedding, which was the main things that they put out on Twitter. I especially went and researched that. It was all about Cyril Ramaphosa stepping down and load shedding. Now they've added other things, which means that they feel that they are lacking support. Malema cited unemployment, load shedding, corruption. So now corruption is added. Unemployment is added. GBV is added, and the collapsed healthcare system in his call for action. Now, this is strategic because at the moment, now he's striking. Okay, they are setting things alight outside hospitals, etc. And in Cape Town, they're getting a hiding because the local people are just not taking this protest action. They aren't allowing it, and they're fighting back. But they are striking at the moment. So he's trying to appeal to them to become part of what he's trying to do. This shows weakness, and this is important to understand. So now the economic freedom fighters leader Julius Malema urged all South Africans to take to the streets for the national shutdown later this month. So now not just the EFF members, weakness. In a video posted on the party's social media account, Malema said, "Enough is enough." Now, when you say enough is enough, you're just repeating what many other people have said before. And everyone that said enough is enough has failed at everything that they've done. So this does not bode well for him. And then he says, we cannot have a president that presides over a collapsed state. He also called for Ramaphosa to step down immediately. So that's in line with what they initially said the shutdown is for. Then the headline, EFF's national shutdown. The EFF is calling for the streets of South Africa to be occupied and for citizens to stand up against the state of the country. Now, that is wide. It's a lot wider than load shedding and Cyril resigning. I quote, "Now is the time to take action. The streets are calling. We have to occupy all the streets of South Africa. Wherever you are, make your voice be heard," he said. Unemployment and load shedding. So unemployment is coming into the fray. Something that would touch many people in the country. 50% of adults in South Africa are unemployed at the moment. So only Monday will tell us whether these tactics have worked. Malema mentioned unemployment, lack of electricity, corruption, high crime rates, gender-based violence, and collapsed hospitals and education system as reasons to shut down the country. So now there, the education system is added. He's already added the hospitals with the hospital workers, sympathy for them. They're already striking and they want to intensify their strike. He said unemployment shouldn't be tolerated any longer. If you're not working, it's your day to show you are concerned. Very toned down from what he said originally. If you don't have electricity because of Eskom, stand up and show the ANC government that you are tired. That's weak, very weak. Let me continue. GBV, the order of the day. Malema called for the streets of South Africa to be occupied and for citizens to make the voices heard during the upcoming national shutdown. He said South Africans are tired of corruption, the high cost of living, crime is too high, GBV, gender-based violence is the order of the day. Addressing the education inequalities, Malema said children are being shot at by police when they demand the right to education. Then he speaks of state of hospitals and healthcare. Then he goes into the Pala scandal. He's falling apart. If you want to have a national shutdown that works, you need to do it around one key point. One key point that you bring across the government. The moment you expand it like this, it becomes a mess. So this is already a mess. And Julius Malema has made a huge mistake doing this, and it shows weakness. Initially, when he said load shedding, which doesn't make sense, and I'll get to that later, and the president to step down, those are valid reasons for him to ask the EFF to protest, okay? To show their dismay, and under the Constitution, they can absolutely do that. In the last article I cover, things get out of hand completely, okay? And this shows proper desperation. At this stage, he first comes out with strength in the Western Cape, then he becomes soft, and then I'll give you this article from News 24, and maybe this is just to ruffle people's feathers. We have 700 people watching now. Welcome to all of you. And please share this video with friends and family if you've come in later. But here is the problem. And I will tell you what needs to happen because of these things that have been said. EFF wants businesses to close on day of planned shutdown or face being looted. This was on the 9th of March, okay? So that article I just went through today, which is soft, okay, shows the weakening. This was on the 9th of March. This was a couple of days ago, 4 days ago. EFF members have warned businesses to close ahead of the national shutdown on 20 March to avoid being looted. Party spokesperson Sinawo Tambo said communities had welcomed the popular methods that have been applied. The SA Federation of Trade Unions reportedly said more than 700,000 of its members would take part in the shutdown. Now, this is a big deal because he managed to get SAFTU to actually join the strike as an organization. Now, I don't know how many people will actually join in, but that is significant. If 700,000, they're actually 800,000 members, SAFTU members join in, this is a complete ballgame change, okay? And I've always said if the unions join in, it's a different ballgame altogether because it's not just the EFF. And it's clear that now, based on the article that came out yesterday, that Julius Malema is asking for the whole country to get involved for all sorts of reasons all of a sudden. The focus is gone. Ahead of its planned national shutdown on 20th of March, the EFF has warned all small businesses and factories to close on the day or risk being looted. Now, how they say this is important because they can say that we can't control what the people end up doing, but they called for the strike. If you're calling for a strike or protest action and people loot, etc., if you don't control that strike, you can be held liable, okay? Under our law, whether fair or not is irrelevant. In a video seen this week, party members were captured announcing the shutdown on the back of a bakkie via a loudspeaker. And this happened in many places around the country. The EFF put speakers on the back of a bakkie and they announced a shutdown driving through streets. The speaker is heard saying, "We are saying to you, close down all your businesses to avoid the looting. Close down all your shops to avoid the looting." What looting? Where is the looting going to come from? Who's authorizing this looting? Looting is illegal. Blocking a street is illegal. Stopping someone else from going about their business is illegal. That is not strike action anymore. That is not a protest. That is criminal activity. Then they said, close down all your factories to avoid the lootings. They cannot give instruction to anybody. You can advise someone if you want to, but to give instruction to someone is not okay as a political party. I quote, close down everything. Nothing will be operating on that day. We are avoiding the looting. What nonsense. I mean, to tell someone that we are avoiding the looting and therefore we are helping you by saying you must shut down your business. So we are saying to you, come and join the march, my brother, come and join the march, my sister. EFF spokesperson Sinawo Tambo said the party had traveled door to door, handed pamphlets and mobilized on the back of bakkies throughout the country to effectively gather people for the national shutdown. In response to the video, Tambo added communities had widely welcomed these popular mechanisms nationwide. Well, Monday will tell us whether they actually believed in this. It has been effective and it is being received well by our people. I don't know what he means by our people, whether he means EFF supporters or the people of South Africa, who are suffering the rising cost of living, high unemployment levels, and high levels of crime. So our people wanted a solution to their problems. And here comes the trade union now. Tambo said the SA Federation of Trade Unions involvement would see more than 700,000 of its members taking part in the shutdown and ensure workers would not be victimized for joining the strike. But will they be victimized for not striking and going to work? This is the question. Is General Secretary Zwelinzami Vavi announced the trade unions' participation in the shutdown at a media briefing last week. So this is official. that SAF2 members will join. And I will go into who the SAF2 members are just now. Okay. This means that we will galvanize and mobilize our own members to join the national shutdown across the country. In fact, we have submitted a Section 77 notice this morning, Thursday, to protect all workers in and outside the Federation. This means any worker, even if they are not a member of any union, including the Federation itself, will be protected from victimization by employers when they participate in that national shutdown, he said. Okay, so they are really trying to get everyone involved in this national shutdown. Okay, so who are these unions involved in SAF2? And you can go and have a look up on Google. So which unions are under SAF2 in the public sector? It's the South African Liberated Public Sector Workers Union, the National Union of Public Service and Allied Workers, South African Police Union, the Young Nurses in Daba Trade Union, South African Security Workers Union. So look out for your security workers. South African Correctional Services Workers Union, look out for jailbreaks. So, and then APSA, I'm not exactly sure who APSA is. But just understand that that is a huge boost to the EFF to actually get that support from these trade unions. That is a big deal. Okay? But here's the problem. When Julius Malema says that the streets must shut down, no trucks will be driving and all that type of thing, as a political party leader, he cannot infer things like that. You cannot do that as a political party. And under the registration, when you register the political party with the IEC, there are rules and regulations that govern that. And you can be delisted as a party. This has happened to many other parties before for not complying with the rules and regulations of being a political party. So the moment you become something else and you're not a political party anymore in how you behave and what you do, if you're calling for any criminal action over that period of time, it's not just about him being prosecuted, because this is an EFF national shutdown. The party should and can be deregistered and will not be able to take part in national elections anymore. Now, I'm not saying that this should happen, because this could actually cause destabilization, and stabilization in the country, to me, is the most important thing. Do I think that there's going to be a massive shutdown next week, Monday? No, I don't think so, because I don't think they have the support. I don't think they have proven to have the support. And especially the second article makes it clear that weaknesses set in. The arrogance in the first iteration of instructions to the people within the Western Cape, saying it won't fail and it won't this and it won't that, to where it is today, where they are begging and pleading basically for the public to join in and for anyone else to join in for all sorts of things. Not just for Cyril Ramaphosa to resign, not just for because of load shedding. Now, how a national shutdown can help load shedding, I have no idea. Does he want the people working at the power stations to actually walk out? I really want to ask him this. Does he want the workers at the power stations to walk out? Because it will cause a national blackout if that is the case. Is that what he wants? So it doesn't really make sense. And there's a lot of weakness there. So as I said last week, Thursday, I don't believe, and I stand to be corrected, that they have the support. If you look at the amount of votes that they get, I think that is their support base at this stage. I think he will be lucky to mobilize 5% of that. That's 50,000 people. Now, make no mistake, 50,000 people of 1 million members is a lot of people. But it's not 100,000. It's not sufficient. And so I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But in certain areas, there could be disruption. Based on what he said, he's basically leaving it up for people to do things. Speaking of looting, tells people to loot shops if they open. I mean, insinuating things like that is not okay. He should not be doing that as the leader of a political party. And the fact that nothing happens to him, the fact that nothing happens to any EFF member or any member of any party that have committed criminal activities in the past, and these people in the main opposition, the ANC, non-stop committing criminal activities, things that I have raised, even within the official opposition, and people tell you, oh, I don't think you should speak about that, or I don't think you should mention that. This is problematic in general. So in our country, this whole governance system needs to change at the end of the day, because this governance system allows this to happen. It allows terrorism to be the order of the day. During COVID-19, people of this country were terrorized by regulations. And if you actually look at the whole governance system that we have now, only we can change that. And we absolutely need to be able to mobilize in large numbers, prepare ourselves for the absolute dysfunction that is being created in the country right now. There is no solution being created for load shedding, the very problem Julius Malema wants to address. There is no solution being created for that. None that I can see. Nothing. I mean, I'm not in support or against the car power ship deal, but all three ships that could have docked to give us power, their environmental impact assessments have been turned down. So that power will not come our way. And I don't think necessarily, I don't want to give my opinion on that. I don't think it's a good idea for us to be dependent on someone else. I believe in self-reliance. So being dependent on the Russians, the French, the UK, America, whoever for anything is bad news. We should avoid that at all costs. We should be able to do our own thing in this country. And especially with regards to our own electricity supply. In the past, we built our own power stations. We were going to build our own nuclear power stations. And now I'm not talking about the pebble bed modular reactor. I've spoken to my members about where these sites have been prepared, where we were going to build our own nuclear power stations, pressurized water reactors like Kuburg. And all of these things were just stopped. And they were stopped because of overseas influence. I'm going to very soon release a video where a professor from UNISA was interviewed, and where he admits that the CR17 campaign was paid for by Britain and the EU because they thought that he would serve their interests the best. And hopefully it won't be removed from the channel, but I want you to watch that interview. I will give you my thoughts on it, but listen, it's about 13 minutes long. Listen to the full interview. What this professor says, it's very revealing. And it's things I've spoken about. It's just wonderful to see someone else saying the same thing. And Sakina Kamwindo, that actually interviewed him, she used to be at SAFM, she kept on harping back on, but then our president is controlled. Then Paul Mashatile, who might become the future president, might also be controlled by people overseas, not the people of South Africa. And you need to understand at this stage, the EFF is obviously changing gears here. Julius Malema formed the EFF on the back of a visit to the United Kingdom. And maybe the EFF is going to be used for new things in future. They've been used to pacify the left for a very long time. They've been very effective at doing that. But if that step change happens, and the plan is actually to destabilize this government by 2025, so that a United Nations interim government can step in to stabilize the country under their law and order, under their regulations, we are in for a tough ride. This is certainly the plan globally. If you go and watch my Double O Days meeting, which you can find on this channel, then you will understand where this comes from. You can go and watch the Moments in Time and Question Everything series. It's all free in 2 playlists on this channel. Go and watch those videos and understand why we are in the situation we're in. 3 years ago, I said that first the Zulu Kingdom will fall. Next, Eskom will fall. And next, we will have the secession battle. And a lot of people don't understand how or why. but you will see it play out. And everything that's happening now, including what the EFF is doing, is running up to that. Cyril Ramaphosa will be removed next. Who will take his place, and what will that person do? What is Paul Mashatile being lined up to do, and why? Thank you very much for watching. This is 825 people watching this video. Please share this with as many people as possible. On Monday, look out in your area for what might happen. Be prepared for any eventuality. I don't think there's going to be a massive anything next week, Monday. I don't think the EFF has the capacity to do so. So, yeah, that is my 2 cents worth. And I might be proven wrong. I haven't been wrong in the past. Based on everything I've laid out now, I'm just looking at the evidence on the ground. When people start groveling, like before, people have said, but they are going to shut down Stellenbosch. I asked people, who are they? They said some guy on YouTube, not on YouTube, on Facebook, said that people must come, we're going to shut down Stellenbosch. I said, the guy is standing behind a dustbin in an informal settlement, not in Stellenbosch, asking people in Stellenbosch to shut Stellenbosch down. I said he's got no support. If he had support, he wouldn't be asking people to help him. Julius could just do one simple thing. Send out these notifications throughout the EFF to his membership. Announce nothing to the country and bring the country to a standstill, because you can do it with 1 million people. The fact that he didn't do that means he hasn't got the support. He hasn't got the support. It's a political ploy. He looks weak. He made a huge mistake as a party leader, and we will see what the fallout of that will be. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to share this video with your friends and family. Please like it so that the algorithms can show it to a lot more people. Thanks for so many people coming on. We had over 800 people watching. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. See you soon.